So for the last few weeks, it has been crazy weather. Like spring showers are totally normal, but I feel like this year it's been exceptionally rainy, and not even just like some rain, but a lot of rain, and for days and days and days. And so for a good like 3 weeks, it's done nothing but rain or just super humid. And now it's not rainy. It's actually a gorgeous day. So hot, like just really, really humid. I've just been avoiding doing stuff in the garden because I haven't been able to get out here early like I should. And then by the time I get out here, it's awful. So now we're getting into early evening. The sun will be going down a little bit, and I'm gonna get out here and work in the garden a little. The squash vine borers decimated all my squash, all my pumpkins. I think that's it. I ended up pulling the plants, pulled all my garlic because all that rain was making them extremely soft, and I was afraid they were gonna rot. So I did pull a whole bed of garlic, and that is drying. And so today, since it's a beautiful day, I've decided I'm gonna go ahead and pull all my onions and probably all or most of my lettuce, because the true Texas style, it is gone from high 70s, low 80s to high 90s. Like, you have to stop screaming. So today is harvest day. Okay, so in Central Texas in zone 8B, we can only grow certain onions and for our zone. So we can only grow short day onions. So for a short day, because onions grow based on how much sunlight you have, for our zone we can only do the short day. Onions that we chose are called the Sweet Bells, and they are the sweetest red onions in the short day variety that you can get for our zone. Mine have been doing really well. This is, I think, the best year I've ever had for red onions. I have a really hard time. Here's a little story. Because I never understood why they're called red onions when they're very clearly purple. And so if you ever see me like take a second right before where I'm like, red onion, it's because in my brain I'm telling myself in my head, like, don't say purple, don't say purple. I think I'm just gonna give up. It's kind of like okra. You know, you grew up calling it a certain thing like okra, and then I feel like I had to change it because everyone said okra. But I'm going back to my original okra in the same way with the onions. I'm just gonna call them like I see them. So these Southern Belle purple onions may be the best I've ever grown. They look to be really big. I didn't know if they were gonna make it. I got mine from Dixon Dell Farm here in Texas. I got them, gosh, I wanna say the second week of December. So I planted probably around mid-December. They say about 110 days to maturity. I'm at like about 170 days. So I don't know if that's a good thing, but I was just waiting for them to bulb and kind of die back, and that's kind of just now happening. I don't know if that's from the freak snowstorm and because, you know, just the weather was so different this year. So yeah, they're just now here. Now, before I show you this bed, a quick disclaimer. So we have had all this rain, right? And I haven't been hand weeding like I should be, especially with the onions, because I was concentrating on the squash vine borers and cucumbers and tomatoes and all that stuff, and I kind of let this bed go. And now that we had like this 3 weeks of rain and I'm looking at it, I don't even want to show you guys because it looks so bad, but I'm going to, because I'm going to keep it real. And it is all of a sudden from this rain, I had some weeds. It's a scary amount of weeds. So let me show you. Okay, this is a judge-free zone, right? I don't know if you can even see the onions for the weeds. It's crazy, I know. But I had some weeds, and with all that rain and me not coming to check it, they just took off. Plus, I'm sure it was a lot of fertility in the soil because I was adding fertilizer for the onions to bulb up. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull these onions. Let me see. That's a great one.
It is the biggest. That's the biggest one yet.
Are we almost done yet?
Almost. Found one.
Whew. It's hot, isn't it, girls?
Another.
Oh, I see some more.
That's
Good
the
job.
biggest.
We got us a wheelbarrow full.
Wow. Yeah, I saw you going.
Good job.
Wait, do I see another? I do. 2.
There's so many weeds, it's hard to find them all. Pretty good haul.
Yeah. Mommy, you got something in house.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So back in here, so that's the onions we just pulled. It's full of weeds. So I'm gonna get that weeded out. This one was yellow onions, the sweet 1015s. I did those, gosh, about 40 days ago now. And we amended the soil and then planted cantaloupe in its place. And it is doing a pretty good job. And funny enough, look, the girls' strawberries are still going strong. This bed was all the garlic, and we have some volunteer okra from a couple years ago. And I still haven't weeded and amended this bed. So what the plan is for this bed and for that onion bed is I am going to do some cover crops. And I ordered a couple things from Baker Creek, and basically it's a couple plants that I think I got buckwheat. I'm trying to remember what else I got. But I'm going to plant them and they're going to grow for the summer. They are great for the heat. But what they'll do is they'll add nitrogen back to the soil, keep it alive with lots of just organic matter added to it. Because what I've been doing in the past is, like, when we get to a point here in my zone, we can't plant anything for the summer. And like a lot of things are going to, doggy, it is hot.
It's humid.
A lot of things are going to die off and stuff, and it's too late. Other than like cantaloupe and okra, watermelon, I think I could still plant all those right now. But other than that, that growing list is getting really short. So I'm gonna do this heat tolerant cover crops, and what it's gonna do is keep that soil alive and going well, because what I normally do is when we pull something and a bed is empty, I just usually let it sit there until it's time to plant again. Then I'll add some compost or amendments or some extra soil, beef it up again, and then plant. And I've been really looking at what other people are doing and learning that even in raised beds, a cover crop is a great idea, just to keep your soil healthy, sitting and getting stagnant over those summer months. So those will be here any day now, and I'll get those planted, and they have really pretty flowers. So it'll be really pretty, and it won't just be like the sad, empty looking bed come July when everybody's like, what happened there? Like, nothing happened. It's supposed to be like that. So that's going on with there. So the Yarden side is just so green and it's so pretty. It makes my heart so happy. And the fun thing is, the cucumbers we plant on both sides have rounded the corner and made it to the top of our trellis. So it means in the next couple of weeks, this whole thing will be full. It'll be like a secret garden entry. And it makes me so happy. Different kinds of green beans, and they're doing really well. See, they're putting on green beans, and these are obviously purple, and when you cook them, like as they heat up, they turn green, and my kids love it. It's so fun. And this bed is where the squash vine borers won. I lost the battle and the war, and that was that. So all in all, everything looks really good. My tomato plants are obscenely tall. Like, we have had to, that one going this way, we didn't use a cattle panel like this. We just use a still rolled up fencing material, and it did not stand to how heavy these indeterminate tomato plants are. They're about 8 feet tall. If you could tell, this sunflower, where's my talking hand? This sunflower that has not bloomed, and this one is 10 feet tall, and this one's about 8. So if that gives you any idea on how big my tomatoes are getting. But look at this. We are getting lots of cucumbers every day. I am noticing though that we might be getting aphids. Oh gosh, they're so pokey when they're little. But there's another one down here. Okay. I think that's it, but it's so hard because you think you have found them all, and then you'll come out tomorrow and there'll be one as long as your arm. So you have to really dig and see. But this is, okay, I planted like one cantaloupe and one watermelon plant over here, and they're taking over. They're spilling out. In true Christina fashion, I shoved way too many plants in one area, and now I just have stuff everywhere. You can see, can you see that cantaloupe right there? So those look good. This is my lettuce bed, and yeah, I need to pick it because, let's see if I can show you. If you see on this romaine, still looks okay. You can see where we've been trimming it from the bottom, but they're starting to get a little soft and flaccid. I don't think I've ever used flaccid in an actual sentence other than SAT, so that's cool. This, but you could tell with this butter crunch, it looks like it's about to go to seed, and I bet I should probably go ahead and harvest all that, because once it does that, it really does go bitter. The sweet potatoes are spilling out everywhere. Now, if you don't know, sweet potatoes will produce really pretty flower, and they're great ground cover. So if there's an area like just a garden or a flower bed, they will fill up the space quick. It loves the heat, has beautiful flowers, and the leaves are also edible, so you can eat the leaves if you want to. Oh, I forgot my basket. And I feel like I'm gonna have some things to grab. Let's see. These nasturtiums are still doing really well. And they are also edible. The whole plant, the whole nasturtium plant is edible. But, oh, let's see a little tomato friend. It's still a little green, but what I've been trying to do is pick them as soon as they start blushing or turning red, because I had something in here eating. It looked like either a mouse or a squirrel, and so I have been trying to pick things as I can, but it's also been very hard because it's hard to find it because I planted my plants so close together. So it really is like hunting in here. Plus I planted all different varieties, because if you didn't see my last videos, my toddler moved around all my labels and I don't know what tomato plant is which, or pepper. So it's just been kind of like a mystery game. We just kind of go around and figure out what each thing is. I'm not sure if any of my jalapenos even grew, because every jalapeno that we've picked, that we've tasted, have all been hot. So either they cross-pollinated and they're all hot, or they're just all jalapenos. But next year I'm going to do a much better job at making sure we keep them all separate. I'm actually really excited for it to finally stop raining and to get hot and sunny, because I picked a lot of tomatoes, and you know, they tasted better than what you would get at the grocery store, right? Because the grocery store tomatoes taste like disappointment. So these tomatoes obviously taste better, but they were still, to me, after growing tomatoes for so long, you know the difference. They weren't as rich in flavor as they normally are, and they were extremely watery this year. So I made a bunch of salsa. I canned some bruschetta in a jar and already sampled some of that, and it was amazing. So I'm hoping these next batches of tomatoes, after we get out of all this rain, will taste a lot stronger. An idea. Here's that 10-foot tall sunflower tree. It's called a mammoth sunflower, and I got it from Baker Creek, and my girls just went around and planted them throughout the garden, and they live up to their name. Their leaves alone are like the size of my torso. my gosh, they're just so beautiful. Definitely glad we succession planted because it just is giving us constant flowers, and the zinnias the girls did. So here we have a bell pepper. Let's see if it'll go a little longer and get a little bigger. I wonder if this one's gonna be hot or not. Now that is a good spring harvest, although I will say it's almost summer. And it's basically summer temperatures here. It's like 96 today. I'm glad I picked them. And this is the best year for my red onions. I mean, some of these are just really good size. I can't complain about that. I think this one right here might be my biggest. And I think I was right in doing it because quite a few were so shriveled up. We had to dig them out. They had no tops even left to them. So these were past ready. But I'm glad I gave them a couple days to dry out because that dirt was just wet from all the rain. But I lost count. I know I got over 100 this year. I'm gonna double it next year. But I'm gonna let these hang outside. It's gonna be sunny and hot the next few days. So I'm gonna let these stay out here and let them get crispy and dried up, and that's what they call curing. So I'm gonna let those cure, and then I'm gonna take them inside. I'm going to dehydrate some, I'm gonna chop and freeze some, and I'm also going to can some. So I'm gonna make an onion jelly, or no, an onion jam, and with some of the garlic, I'm gonna do a roasted garlic spread that I'm gonna can, and I'm also gonna pickle some of these. So that'll be coming up soon. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks for joining me in the Yarden.